Please welcome to the stage your fellow Engel and Völkers advisors to discuss market mastery, infusing your market knowledge into everyday success, featuring Aggie Smith, Andrew Ellett, Maggie Thornhill, and Danny Wang, moderated by Adam Lerman.
How you guys doing today? Yeah. What do you think of Exchange so far? Right? Unbelievable. I got to tell you, I'm honored to be up here with some fantastic people. What I want to do is I want to start with some introductions to some of these people, and I got to tell you something. Just sitting in the green room with them, getting to know them, I can't wait to come to their house for Super Bowl next year. It's going to be a lot of fun. So we have Aggie Smith from Napa. Yeah, Aggie. We have Andrew Ellett from Jackson Hole. We have Maggie Thornhill from Whistler. And we have Danny Wang from Boston. You know, it's funny, I got not even a quarter of that applause, but that's okay, that's okay. The day's still young, thanks. So let's get right down to it. So what I want to do is, I really want to talk to you guys and really get a feel for what your market is like individually. So Aggie, I'll start with you. Can you give me a little bit about what your market is like?
Yeah, well, we drink wine.
Surprise, yeah.
But we're a destination location. Oh, sorry, I forgot. I'm winning the Oscar, right? So we drink wine in Napa Valley, and we're a destination location. But what makes us really special is that we are an hour away from San Francisco. We're 2.5 hours away from Lake Tahoe, and we're an hour and away from the beach. So we have buyers coming from around the globe to visit us and to purchase from us, not only in the luxury market, but in the lower end market, because we're still affordable in the Bay Area, so people are willing to commute. The luxury market has had a little bit of a struggle, but I don't think it's because it's Napa-centric. I think that the consumer is finding that there are luxury markets around the world, so their choices have become vastly larger than I've ever seen in my lifetime. So you really have to understand that when they're going to buy their third or fourth home, they're looking specifically because in Napa, they like food and wine, and they want to be able to go to San Francisco and Lake Tahoe, et cetera.
Nice. I mean, look at me, I like food too, so I totally understand what you're talking about, though. All righty, Mr. Ellett, how about your area in Jackson Hole?
Well, a lot of you know, we all have very unique and diverse markets. I think Jackson Hole is a really special place. Yeah. You know, it has a famous cowboy culture. It's really done a great job of keeping its soul as a cowboy town, but it's also very cosmopolitan. Yeah. And, you know, I think it's just arguably one of the best, you know, most beautiful places on planet Earth. Maggie and I might
I got to wrestle you with that one.
But, you know, I'm going to go ahead and say it's the #1 ski resort in North America.
We used to be until Vail came in.
We hear you, Park City. And, you know, it's become, you know, the lifestyle and everything else, but it's become a great tax haven for the high net worth set. If you look at the tax situation in Wyoming, you know, there's no state income tax, there's no excise tax, there's no transaction tax, there's super low property tax, and Wyoming is the home to the Dynasty Trust, which, if you're not familiar, basically protects your real estate from estate taxes for up to 1,000 years through a family partnership or an LLC vehicle. So, you know, you see a lot of kids who end up are forced to sell the property just because of the taxes, and that protects them. So California, you know, think of Wyoming, you know, if you're tired of your tax situation. So.
Wow, all right. You're getting some fighting words over there. All right. Maggie, how about you?
I'm not going to tell any of my clients about that. They might be going somewhere else. To keep
We'll do a
close.
referral.
All
Okay.
right. 50-50?
No.
I'm going to leave now. Go ahead, Maggie.
All right.
Go ahead.
Okay. We've got epic mountains. We've got probably the best skiing area in the whole of the world.
I see a theme here now all of a sudden. Great, great.
Our feeder market's actually Vancouver. We have probably 80% of our market from there, but we are becoming absolutely global, which is why Engel and Völkers is so very important to me and my advisors, because reaching our global clients is really important. We're very well situated. We're one flight from Australia, from Europe, from China, from Mexico.
Wow.
So we're really well positioned. One flight in, and then it's probably a 2-hour drive up to the mountains. So we do, you know, we're very lucky because of that.
Yep.
It's easy to get in and out. My sweet spot in what I sell is probably, I mean, 2 to 3 million is kind of the sweet spot.
Wow.
We do sell obviously higher than that, but as Aggie said, the real estate, the more luxury end of the market is tougher. And as you say, it's because there is a lot of competition out there.
Yep.
But it's a place that is now a truly 4-season resort. We started as a ski resort, but now we have probably more visitors in the summer than in the winter. The stuff that people can come and do, there's golf, there's downhill mountain biking, there's cross country, there's road biking, there's tennis. I mean, it's truly amazing.
It's great.
We have great restaurants. So it's a good place to come and spend, whether it's a weekend or you probably need a bit more than a weekend to really enjoy what we have to offer. But I invite you all to come and see us.
Nice.
Or if not, just send me referrals.
Nice, very nice. All right, Danny, how about you?
Well, to answer your question, if Tom Brady comes back to New England,
Oh, Lord.
I will have you over for the Super Bowl.
Wow, you lost some fans here, my friend. All right. Just saying.
So, as many of you may know, the Boston market was heavily driven by the higher education system, and it always has. And real estate just multiplies, and definitely, what's the word I'm looking for?
Increasing,
Benefits
multiplying,
from-
benefits.
benefits
I was going to say that about 20 minutes later, but okay, yeah, that's great.
So just 10 years ago, one of the challenges we were facing was we had all these brilliant people attending Harvard, MIT,
Sure.
all the other brilliant universities in the neighboring towns, but we couldn't get them to stay, right? They were going to cities such as New York City, Chicago, Los Angeles, Miami for work. Fast forward till today, now we're home to e-commerce giants such as Wayfair, right? We are the hub for biotechnology and pharmaceutical in the United States. And we have a financial sector that's really, really strong, that's rarely ever mentioned, and it's spearheaded by State Street.
Wow.
So we have a very well-insulated market,
Yep.
and it's definitely a great time to buy in Boston.
I love that. I love it. Nice advertisement. Nice. So, so Aggie, I'm going to ask you, who are your target consumers, and how have you been successful in attracting more and reaching them in the right way?
So I believe in the shotgun approach because in today's world, we have the millennials and we have the baby boomers. And so we do a mixture of marketing. So if you're not doing digital marketing along with traditional marketing, you're missing the boat. I do a lot of Instagram, and we do a lot of advertising on Instagram and Facebook, and then we do traditional marketing. And we send out the monthly newsletter, and we do the same, property things to do. But I add a book club of the month. I'm a big reader. And you would be amazed at how many of my clients, and we have a database of thousands, will email me and say, oh my God, thanks for the recommendation. But I think it's really important that you have to be ahead of the times today. You have to use video. So for all of my listings, I have a videographer come out, and we'll do 30-second snippets of me speaking about various parts of the house. In those we use then for Instagram, and then we can advertise to a targeted market of who we feel would be the perfect buyer for the market. And just to let you know the power of social media, this past year I sold one $5 million house, double-ended it. It was from a social media contact. I have a $10 million buyer that came to me off of Instagram. And if you follow me on Instagram, Aggie Vermeer Smith Group, I will tell you that you can see me being silly, you can see me interviewing clients, you can see my beautiful properties. We try to make it really authentic, and people are drawn to us. And I'm getting a ton of contacts from social media.
Love hearing that. 10 years ago, think about how it's changed just in the past 10 years. You really do have to keep up, with the latest trends, especially with social media and what's happening. Yeah. That's great. I love that. Danny, same thing for you. Who are your target consumers, and how have you been successful in attracting and reaching them in that right way?
Yeah, a lot of my clients are international. I have many clients who are parents with kids attending university in our town, and I'm 30 years old, so as a millennial, I guess, we do have certain neighborhoods and pockets of Boston where it feeds to our demographic.
Yeah.
So I definitely focus on that. I would say how I would reach them is I have a conventional and unconventional. I definitely agree with Aggie. We have to be forward thinking.
Sure.
With social media. I do go back to my bread and butter. So I think you have to figure out what you're genuinely interested in. So I love cars, I love watches, right? So if I attend a cars and coffee event on the weekend, and before my open houses, they're usually at 7 a.m. It's early. However, you meet a lot of people with common interests. Now, what type of people are bringing exotic cars to cars and coffee events and watch collectors events, right? By invitation only. So I think it's a great way. They eventually ask you, hey, what's your name? And then what do you do? And hey, let's get together. So I think it's brilliant. The other one is very unconventional.
Okay.
So I love watching combat sports, especially the UFC. And so with the UFC, what I found is everyone hates paying for the pay-per-view. It's only $60 to $70. So I might spend like $1,000 over the course of a year. And over last year, I would say I probably pulled in around $7 million just from the UFC fights.
That much?
And I'm not even fighting. So I hosted at my home, and just from the referrals there, you get to know people on a personal level. It breaks the ice because you're not in a formal setting, and you're all here to do one thing. But if you get a referral out of it, it's a bonus. And so if you're not into the UFC, I don't know, watch basket weaving.
Sure, yeah, give something, right?
Something. And I think that's the main thing to take out of this is to do something that you're genuinely interested in.
Danny, that's great, and it's so different. It's interesting you mentioned UFC fighting. Years ago, I was in a really tough fight, and I'll never mess with that girl again. Trust me, ever. Just saying. So, I think we can all agree. These are some fantastic people on the panel. What do you guys think so far, yeah? Great stuff, great stuff. Maggie, for you, my question is, how do you articulate all your knowledge that you have to clients or even potential clients in such a way that it really sets you apart and really helps those clients?
I think when I'm dealing with new clients, one of the things that we should all be doing, and I do really, really well, is qualify. Really, really qualify them. Ask them all the questions. How many children? How old are the children? How many weeks are you going to spend here? What kind of property? How many bathrooms? You know, just ask all of the questions, because most people I work with in advance, they contact me before they arrive in Whistler. So I have lots of time to prepare. So I have lots of time to ask questions. Usually the people are coming from another client of mine. My business is very much referral, considering I've been doing what I do since this guy was probably still in his mother's womb. So it's quite horrifying. So qualify, because what I do, I'll organize the tour, and typically I'll pick out the one house that I think is the right house for them. In Whistler, we don't have a huge inventory. You know, we don't have 1,000 places to choose from.
Right.
So maybe with any given tour, I've maybe got 10 to 12 places to show. So I'll go through and I'll put myself in their position, and I'll pick out the one that I think they should be buying, and we'll go there first. I like to start with that one first, so then they can compare everything else to what we've seen that I think they should be buying. And it's unbelievable the number of times that they say, Maggie, how did you do that?
Yeah.
That's exactly what we want. And then everything else pales, and they typically do buy that first house. So I think qualifying is something that you must do really well.
Agreed 100%. You know, Andrew, how about for you? I mean, how do you articulate your knowledge to clients that really sets you apart?
Well, I think you have just a couple key minutes, whether it's a walk-in, a phone call,
You're right.
to prove that you're the local expert.
Yep.
And so how do you do that in a couple minutes while still giving time of possession to them, right? Because
Right.
it's not about you, it's really about them. So I think you do that by asking some really key questions. The first thing, and this isn't an original idea, for those of you who do Tom Ferry, you know, he talks about there are two kinds of buyers. One is in the transactional phase, and one is in the research phase. If you're talking about research to a transactional or vice versa, it's the wrong talk track.
Right.
So one of the key questions, you know, if they were to call you about a property, is to say, are you familiar with this neighborhood? And they'll quickly tell you, oh, I've seen every house in that neighborhood. They know the comps as well as you do, right? They are ready to pull the trigger when they find the right thing.
Right.
The second kind of buyer is a research buyer. And so if you're talking transactions, they feel pressured. They feel like you're trying to sell them.
Right.
And really they want to be educated and they want to be informed. The other thing that, you know, I love to ask are the questions, I call them, has anyone taken the time questions.
Okay.
So asking a buyer, has anyone taken the time to do a full buyer consultation with you? Has anyone taken the time to show you the power of the dollar in different neighborhoods or different locations? Has anyone, this is a gold mine, has anyone taken the time to review with you all of the listings off market that might work for you?
Interesting.
By asking those questions, you're really conveying two things, okay? One is, number one, there is a particular distinct advantage by working with you, hopefully, rather than any other agent in your market.
Right.
The second thing, by asking that style of question, when you say, has anyone taken the time to review with you, is chances are they haven't.
True.
I find that a lot of agents in our market, at least, are more reactionary rather than proactive. So they've got clients, they're searching Zillow and Redfin, they get 400 notifications a day, and then they call their agent and say, I want to see this house.
Right.
And I really feel our job as an advisor, as an expert level advisor, is to actually lead the discussion, to know what their lifestyle is, to know what the deal breakers are for them, and then really be proactive in helping them with that search. So.
Love that. That's great. Oh, wow. Thank you. Nice job. All right, so fantastic. And you are right regarding proactive versus reactive. You're asking those questions that I guarantee 90% of the other people are not asking. So I think that's fantastic, Andrew. You know, my next question, I want to hit it to Aggie next. Aggie, what do you see as a market trend in 2020? How are you preparing your business and your clients?
So I think we're having a big uptick this year. I'm seeing it in my business, and I think I have two theories on that, and some of you may agree or disagree. But the one thing that we can all agree on is that interest rates have never been so low. Yeah. Money is practically free. And the other thing that I'm seeing is there's obviously market instability in the stock market. And when that happens, people get nervous, and that's a great time for people to say, I want to buy tangible assets. Real estate is a tangible asset. So even if you have a large high-end buyer that comes in and puts cash down for $10 million, they're going to refinance and get that 3.5% loan because the money's free and ties them up. And I saw Oprah lately, and she asked Dwayne Johnson, what's your favorite investment? He said, real estate. And she said, mine too. And she said, because there's only so much America to buy. But that's the reality, and I think it's a tangible asset, so when the markets are nervous, interest rates are super low, tell your clients, now's the time to buy because you're gonna buy a bigger house because your interest rates are lower, so you can get more for your money.
I love it. Hey, if The Rock says it, it's gotta be true, right? You know, so I love it, I love it. No, you're absolutely right, I love that. All right, Danny, how about for you? What do you see as a market trend in 2020?
Yeah, you know what? In Boston, I see it ticking up as well. There's some sort of virus out there right now. So what we're seeing at our open houses is there's actually an uptick in Asian buyers because they don't want their children who are studying in Boston to go back home.
Oh,
right now.
Interesting.
So we're actually seeing an uptick there. And as far as how I'm preparing my business, so can I talk about maybe a recent failure?
Absolutely, I'm full of them, so sure.
So I'm not sure if I mentioned this in the beginning, but my sweet spot as far as sales is from 500,000 to about $1 million. Mm-hmm. And so if I could get anything over $1 million, that's really sweet, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I had an opportunity to compete for a $5 million listing in the Back Bay, which is arguably the most expensive neighborhood for us in Boston. And you know, I wanted to do it on my own, and I practiced the listing presentation until it was airtight. And I walked out of there, and I was like, wow, I got it.
Nice.
Right? And long story short, I didn't get it.
Oh.
And the reason, and there are a couple reasons why. It's because I think I went through everything. However, I overlooked some of the details. So they had come to me because they said, you know, I feel that we had a lack of Asian buyer presence come through our open houses with our last realtor. I think you can help us out with that. I'm like, this is in the bag, right? So, not so.
Oh no, I love it.
So I try and visit Asia at least once or twice a year. I visited Chris, the licensed partner in our Hong Kong office.
Oh, okay.
And I visited him. We got to talking a little bit. What I should have done is I should have called Chris and said, hey, I know this is going to be really early in the morning for you, like 3 a.m., but when I call you at my listing presentation at 3 p.m., I need you to pick up, and you need to shock the out of them, right?
Yeah,
So when you pick up and say, oh, we have a lack of Asian buyer presence, and we're a global firm, right? Yeah. I think that would have set it over the edge, and maybe I would have got it. But that's something I didn't try, and I definitely will do and prepare for the future.
I love that, and you know, utilizing our global presence is extremely important, and I know a lot of you have actually utilized our global presence to help you with your business. That's what's beautiful about this company. We truly are connected globally. We really are. Love that. Andrew, this next question is for you. Speaking about mistakes, you know, what mistakes do you think agents make when change is on the horizon?
I was thinking about that, and you know, I think the first thing that comes to mind, you know, I started real estate 6 months before the Great Flush in 2007, and so it was, you know, for a while surviving, not thriving. But I learned some lessons both during that time and also just from learning from really smart kind of investor clients. And if you think about it, whether you're a financial investor, a real estate investor, a lot of times when the market pulls back and the market retracts, agents pull back and agents retract.
So true.
They get scared just like their clients do.
Sure.
And the most brilliant people that I've seen are the people that if they either they continue the same level of marketing they did, or even better, they double down on it, right? They're marketing when nobody else is. They are investing in a new skill set within the real estate realm.
Yep.
And they're educating their buyers and sellers to take advantage of these moments, not to be scared of them.
Yep.
So I think that's the biggest thing. Also, from a licensed partner perspective, just looking at the shop, you know, I learned from that period that a buyer's market you can thrive in, a seller's market you can thrive in, but there's always a transitional time between those two markets, 6 months. Like I noticed in our market it was more like 12 months,
right,
where everybody freezes. You know, there's fear. Sellers are reluctant to drop their prices. Buyers are waiting for the bottom and never know when they actually hit it.
right.
And the market just freezes. And so you as an agent, as a licensed partner, you have to save up for these times, not only to survive, but also to invest. If you do that, you are going to position yourself better than just about anybody else in the market to really take advantage of it when things come back.
That's awesome. And you can see why they're the #1 ski destination in North America. Nice job, nice job. It's a joke, it's a joke, come on. It's the last day of exchange, come on. So, our last question is, and it's for everybody, guys. You know, I think, you know, it's important that whatever we talk about, you know, we want to make sure if everybody can take away one thing that they can take back, you know, regarding marketing knowledge and what sets you apart in your market. What's the one thing for each of you that you want to bestow upon our friends over here? Aggie, I'll hit you first.
Okay, this is such a no-brainer. I joined the classiest lifestyle firm in the world.
Love that, yeah.
Okay, and I think that we should utilize all the incredible marketing tools that this firm has offered us. I've never seen anything like it. I mean, just the fact that I can go into a listing presentation and say, especially a high end, and I use everything. The white box, the red tissue, the GG magazine, the video book. I do it all. I have so much fun. I even buy the candy, Engel Völkers, throw it in there. I give everybody the red book. And I think that's really says a lot, because when I keep opening the box and gifts are coming out and I'm telling them the things that we're doing around the world. And oh, by the way, we sell jets. And oh, we sell yachts too. And you know, we're opening a place in Mallorca, and people are like, what? And I have connections to all of these people around the world. So that's #1. And then I do want to share what I do for marketing, because I want to help all of you, and I would love to hear anytime you guys have great marketing tools. So this is my signature, and I welcome all of you to borrow it and use it. Every time I leave a listing appointment, I have a deal with my local florist. So within 1 to 2 hours of me leaving that house, that client will receive a half a dozen to a dozen red and white roses from me, and I just put a card in that says, thank you for your consideration. Last week, I had a woman who had interviewed half the town. I sent her the flowers. She sent me a text with a beautiful note. She said, I can't tell you how much I appreciate this. Do you know that I've never received a thank you card from an agent?
Oh my God.
So I would just say utilize all the incredible tools we have in our company, because we have so many, and that's it. And we joined the greatest company on the planet.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. It's so funny that you even include the candy. See, I get candy too, but it never makes it to the clients, so I don't, they've never seen it. All right. All right. Let's go with you, Maggie, next. What's the one thing you want them to take away here that really sets you apart?
Well, I don't think they're going to be able to take away my British accent.
Wait, you're British? I thought you're from Brooklyn. What is that? All right.
I'm a connector. I like to put my clients together in different ways. One thing that I just recently did, I keep talking about my Hong Kong buyers, lots of them. They all come over for Chinese New Year, which this year was the end of January. And it was when the coronavirus had just really taken hold. So many of them came over with their families and stayed. They're still here because the schools are still not open. At first they were going back on the 17th of March, then it was the 22nd of April. Now it looks like it'll probably be June. I don't know when they're going to go back, but so these kids are all online, doing their school work, starting at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So it's quite insular. So, they're not really dealing with many other kids. So I organized a movie night at my house, and I organized all the Hong Kong families to come together. A lot of them don't know each other, others do. And I got some local kids as well, so that I could get all the kids downstairs watching a movie, meeting the other children, and then the parents having cocktails upstairs. So it was a really fun social event. It was pizza and popcorn. And it was so nice because already as they were leaving the house, they were already organizing who they were skiing with tomorrow and when they could meet. So it was very, very well received. So it's that kind of stuff that I like to do. I do some annual events. I do an Easter party, and that's for clients who got young kids. We do a big really big Easter egg hunt. We have a bouncy castle, we have a magician, we do a big brunch, and it's something that as the kids get older, they start to get disappointed that they can't be there. A lot of them will call me and say, can I hide the eggs? So, it's something that they do remember. And then at Christmas time, I always do a great big Christmas party. Kids aren't invited to that one. Just not enough room. It's a really massive party. So it's a way of sending out invites to all my clients. Hopefully they can't make it, otherwise I'd be in real trouble. But it's just a way of touching all the clients to say, hey, I'm still here, party time, let me see you if you're here. If you can't make the party, let's see you after Christmas. So I think staying in touch in a social way for me works really well.
Love that. I love it. I've been to Maggie's house. She's invited me over there. It's beautiful. Of course, it was to park cars, but still, her house is gorgeous. Believe me, it is. And I'm not, it's really nice. So thank you for that. Thank you. It's the last day of exchange. Come on, Danny, how about you? What's the one thing you want everybody to take away?
Yeah, you know what? I think for me, it's to take risks, be creative, and just, take chances and don't take no for an answer, right? Yeah. I think I have some of the greatest licensed partners in Boston, Valerie Post and Keith Shirley.
Sure, they're great,
As soon as I joined, they urged me to take advantage of the GG magazines. Mm-hmm. So for me, I live over in East Boston. If you've ever been to Boston and flown into Logan, you've been to East Boston. And so what I did was I went to the FBO, so the fixed base operations, and that's the terminal where all the private jets fly in and out of. Now, I don't have clearance to go into this terminal. However, I walked in with 10 copies of the GG magazine, and I just placed it on every single coffee table.
Yeah.
And people were just looking at me, and I just went about my day.
Sure.
And so I did that for about 6 months until I got my first phone call. And then that phone call was a gentleman who is from Greenwich, Connecticut, and he was flying back that day. And he said, the stewardess had handed me your magazine so we have collaborative logos on there with our contact information. And he said, I don't like the dorms that my daughter's living in. She will have a roommate. Can you help us find a condo in Boston?
Oh.
And I'm like, well, of course.
Yeah.
And so I got a little bit more information, and it had ended up being over $1 million. And if you remember, 500 to $1 million is my sweet spot. Yep. So this was awesome.
Yeah.
And it cost me just maybe 5 minutes of my time. Right. So if time is that variable, I'm like, yeah, I'll do this every single month. Same GG, old GG magazines, I'll do it. And so, so far, I've done 2 sales from this dropping off the GG magazines. But what I will say is, you just have to be persistent because the general managers will kick you out. You just don't have clearance there. So they'll say, well, you can take your magazines, pick them all up, and leave. So what I did was I just went to another one 20 minutes down the road just from that one until they kick me out.
Right,
so,
right, right.
but I seem to get a good return from just spending time. And I think if you're creative with the tools that you're given,
Yep.
I mean, your future is, there's no ceiling.
I love it. And, we do have some great tools. You take the risks, and it's paying off. I love that, though. Thank you so much, Danny. Andrew, bring us home, man. What's the one thing everybody can take away to help them with their business, really differentiate?
Well, I agree with Aggie wholeheartedly. We pay a lot for these marketing materials, and they're fabulous, and we need to use them. And so everything except for the video brochure, we as a shop provide for all of our advisors.
Wow.
We encourage them to go out, do the $10 hardback white listing presentation booklet. I've had clients say to me who are interviewing other agents, I'll bring the white box with the white hardback listing presentation plus GGs and all the marketing collateral. And they've just said, gosh, if you're willing to do all this for me just to meet with me at my house for 30 minutes, I just started thinking to myself, this is what they'll tell me, a week later, what else could he do for me that other advisors couldn't to list my home and sell it for the most amount of money, So, but I would say the one thing that I would recommend more than anything else is the whiteboard listing presentation.
Oh my God, yes.
Yes. That is our secret sauce. It is a tremendous asset. I tell our advisors, if you try to do that and you don't practice it, you actually might hurt yourself more than if you don't do it. But if you prepare and if you practice it, it is very difficult to lose a listing if you go through the whiteboard listing presentation. What Ann Renee teaches us, is take a picture of it, send it to your client, the next day.
Yep.
We've had clients say, I'm sorry, can we just, I don't know if this is awkward, but, can we take a picture of the whiteboard? This is just incredible.
Really?
And so when that happens, you've won their business because you've just impressed the heck out of them.
Yeah.
Lastly, from a shop level, we have started, and we're on year 2 now, a full-fledged coaching program internally. At first, it was really to make newbies and sort of low-level producers who really wanted to go all in great. And we noticed, my partner Tim and I noticed that, we weren't seeing some of the top producers really gravitate towards the coaching. And we had a key moment where, we had a meeting, and I just thought of this analogy, LeBron James.
Sure.
Right now, LeBron could put on a suit and tie. He could coach a ball team. He could do scheduling. He could do conditioning. He could write a playbook. He could probably coach a team to a winning season. But right now, the best place for LeBron to be is with a jersey, scoring 40 points a game.
Absolutely.
And so to the top producers out there is always something that could make you better. Some way where you can leverage your business to do what only you can do and have somebody else take care of those small things to make you great. And so we've really done that on a shop level with our coaching program.
Love that. Love that. You guys, honestly, I love this panel. I love this question. Hopefully everybody can take at least one thing away. But I just wanted to thank Danny, Maggie, Andrew, and Aggie. Thank you so much, guys. Great job. Great job. Thank you.